I'm not sure why, but you're listening to the Doug Crabtree Report.
Yo, what's going on? It's your boy DC. Someone just asked me what kind of podcast this is, and I was confused and still am on how to answer. Because, first of all, why does a podcast or a show or stage play or a movie or whatever have to be of a certain genre? And isn't there someone out there like me creating new genres every day because they're creative? When someone thinks of a podcast genre, they only think of a genre they already know. Like, when dubstep was created, how did the people start explaining that, no, it's not what you know already, dipfuck, it's new stuff. Okay, secondly, what are my options? And I'll pick one that might kind of be close to it. I don't know. But the answer is, I guess. Let me chink. Oh, man. See? I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to answer this question. What kind of podcast is it? It was the question. And the only thing I can think of is it's a random podcast. But I guess in that answer I have to include that sometimes naughty words are said, and sometimes jokes are made that not the whole family is going to appreciate. And by whole family, I mean types of people, but who the hell knows what types of people there are? What are my options? And are the types of people you're giving me as options just the types you've ever heard of before? Bitch. This podcast is... Okay, I got it. I just figured it out. The answer must be a lie. I must lie about what type of podcast this is, because explaining it is not going to matter. One, the chances of the person speaking to me actually going and becoming a regular listener. That was a fart. That was another fart, not a sound effect. Real, live recorded fart. Now my mic smells like colon. The answer must be a lie, so let me think. Let me chink. The type of podcast this is, I got to think of something really kind of boring, so no one from that conversation will go search for it. How about this? It's a podcast. The type of podcast that I make is a podcast that speaks only on the topic of energy drinks. It is a podcast that talks about new, old, and sustaining energy drink companies, brands, promotions, graphics, and all that. And the reason I say that is because at this moment I'm looking at G Fuel energy drink Sonic the Hedgehog can, which I bought just because, I mean, come on, it's got fucking Sonic on it, you know? Sega, beep, 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 dee, dee, bop, 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 beep, dee, dee, right? Holy crap. But when I was drinking it, the Sonic rings looked like SpaghettiOs, and I thought, ew, I'm drinking SpaghettiO juice. But it wasn't. This energy drink was pretty good, pretty yummy. So there's that then. What kind of podcast is this? This is a food. No, let me think. Gotta make it something even dumber than that. A podcast that's never been done, even though the lie that I come up with and I will always use from here on hence will be a lie. It's a podcast about the ever-changing energy drink market. Boom! Nailed it, bitch! Thank you. Gotta go. Love ya. Bye! I now present to you the next useless segment. Hey, you should check out readthewords.com. It's where I got my royalty-free, I'm not sure why, but you're listening to the Doug Crabtree Report thingy-medilio. My browser said that the website's not secure, so I don't know if you're like getting viruses by going there, but if you want some free viruses and some free text-to-speech for your podcastings, like I did, go to that. But it's kind of funny when you put Doug.crab.tree.report. Sounds like this.
I'm not sure why, but you're listening to the Doug Crabtree Report.
And that's funny, right? Otherwise, it sounds like this.
I'm not sure why, but you're listening to the Doug Crabtree Report.
Which sounds a lot more fluent and better, and I might actually use that as the official one when I go back and find this file and pull just that as an isolated drop. It used to could be the DC report. Then I thought, you know what, that's probably a real show already, and it is. It's a news thing, and if I'm going to spend money trying to copyright something so you can't swag jack it, it has to be something of mine, obviously. So there it is. So yeah, this happened, and a friend of mine recorded, you're listening to the DC report, which sounds like this.
I'm not sure why, but you're listening to the DC report.
Which sounded really cool when I put it to the intro and stuff, which is right here.
I'm not sure why, but you're listening to the DC report.
But I don't think I can use it, so sorry, Ashley. So if you want to record a new one and drop it to me via text and or dougalonation@gmail.com, please do so, along with everyone else, including my own mama. Just send it on in, babe. That way I can use it. Your efforts to make me money. Because that is what makes the world go around. So yeah, the name changed on this show before it even saw the light of day. But hey, Rome was not built in a day. Which is what people say when they don't want to be judged for their trippings and hoop jumping throughings, you know? I now present to you the next useless segment. Hey, I'm so glad you answered. What you're about to hear is the original show segment for what was supposed to be the first thing ever on the podcast, but that didn't quite work out. And you'll most likely, I think, if I remember right, you'll hear me mention the next segment, the apples and oranges conversation, but I can't find it. So yeah, but here it is anyways, probably, and stuff. Yeah. Hey, welcome to the show. It's me, Doug, but I'm trying to bring DC back, so you should call me that and stuff. This is my official podcast show, weekly. Although I'm sitting here eating, and I'll probably pause a lot to do a lot of unrecorded things like shopping on Amazon for an official podcasting mic, USB plug-in mic. Hopefully that just uses pre-existing programs on my computer. But anyways, I'm eating day-old Chinese that's been nuked in the microwave. And I'm drinking the best coffee ever. So, like, I'm not sure exactly what kind of coffee it is, because that's not really what I'm drinking. Because what I make after I brew it is where the magic is. Okay, so I just paused to log in on my computer. I didn't want there to be a whole bunch of dead air. But I'm going to not pause while I drink this coffee, and then I'll continue to talk about it. So, insert loud slurping noises here, but I probably won't, because that's like, takes more effort than I'm doing today. So hang on, bear with me. This coffee is so good, because after the cup is done over in the Keurig, then I added some toffee flavor. I think that's what it was. Then I added 2 sugar packets. Then I added 4 French vanilla creamer packs. So what I actually did was I bought a giant thing of the little individual creamers. You know how you can like flip creamers, like in the Freddy Got Fingered movie, the chick was flipping creamers. Those little creamer packs that look like Barbie doll house trash cans with lids. I bought a giant case of those. Hang on, I gotta take my pants off. Okay, I now have no pants on because my knees were wet because I was out putting up handy panels around the dog's fence area, and I had to kneel down in the wet mud. So anyways, my house is kind of like better than a Starbucks because you can do this, what I'm about to describe. This is what happened. Fresh cup of coffee, 4 French vanilla creamers, yeah, that I did. I don't know why I'm looking at the camera, because I'm probably not going to use the video, because I don't always look gorgeous like I normally do in my random vids and stuff. And that's not the idea of this project. This is your podcast bullshit. So, first thing I did was add some dope ass flavoring. Just a pinch will do ya. The 4 creamers and 2 sugar packs, because I bought the giant case of the creamers, a giant case of the original packs of like the little individual creamer packs, like you get at the continental breakfast at the hotel, or as I like to call the hodl. Okay, I bought a giant case of those. I bought a giant box of sugar packets. There's 3,000 individual packets inside this giant case of sugar packets, like at a restaurant supply store. And I have like 7 different coffee flavor bottles above the Keurig on the shelf. And today's choice was toffee. So I'm sitting here enjoying my epic cup of coffee, leftover Chinese tofu, whatever you call it. And this is it. This is the show. That was actually the perfect introduction to episode 1 of the DC Report, which you're listening to right now. If I even remember that that's what the show is called, because I may forget and call it something else by the time the hour's up, yeah? Okay, so, hang on. Let me eat for a second. Alright, sorry, I had a big mouth of Chinese food. So that's basically the perfect introduction, because it was random, nonsensical, completely useless information. Although, if you keep listening, or by now you already have, because a lot of you, good people, are listening to the episodes backwards. That's right. This is the last one you'll hear until my new one goes up, because you've heard the latest one and listened to them backwards, like a good American would do. So you already know that the show is chock clear full of incoherency and coherency, but this ain't the news, baby. So if something happened today and then a new episode dropped, don't be disappointed when I don't mention it, for two reasons. One, I'm never going to mention it because I don't watch the news. And two, the episodes are recorded prior to the published date. And then, when you hear an episode on a particular internet platform, don't email me or stop me and ask me questions about that particular platform, because I don't record for a platform. I record for you and me, the audience. Does that make sense? Hell yeah, it makes sense. If you want it to. A lot of people, they heard something on YouTube. They'll contact the creator to say, hey, I liked your stuff. And then 90% of what they want to talk about is questions about how to make money on YouTube. Blah, 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 blah. A real artist, recording artist, video artist, painter, whatever, they don't work for a publisher that has a simulcast of their stuff going. They work for the piece of art to make it what they want. Or in this case, they just throw something together for expressive purposes. YouTube is a website. My show exists independent of whatever you're hearing it on. SoundCloud, Mixler, YouTube. Now, YouTube happens to be a pretty damn good idea if you're putting your stuff out there, because it's very popular. That doesn't mean I want to sit around and have 1,000 identical conversations about the workings of the YouTube world. One, I don't give a flying rat's cock. And two, it means nothing in relevance to what I actually do. Also, here's a theory. If you need to ask me about what I do, then clearly you don't already know, which means it wouldn't matter what I tell you, because my description of what I do, quote unquote, is just going to be interpreted in your head any way you want to interpret it. People don't actually hear what you tell them. They hear what they hear in their head that's roughly inspired by what you tell them. So one thing you got to know in life is that it really doesn't matter what you say or do. It's only going to matter what the person wants to hear. That's particularly helpful in the dating world. Just be yourself, because it literally doesn't matter what you say to this other person. It only matters what they hear. And what they hear your words, but it's through a filter. Okay? It's through a filter of whatever's in their head, whatever they've went through in life and how they chose to react to it, or what someone encouraged them to react to it like. So you might say, this happened to me. You might say, I live 1 mile outside of the city limit, so I have the best of both worlds. She heard me say, I live out in the fucking boondocks, so dating me would be absolutely miserable, because you'll never be able to spend time here and still be able to realistically go into town for anything that you need. Clearly, that was two completely different descriptions of the situation. I said one thing, she heard another. And what, am I just being harsh on this girl? No, it actually took place. I lived it. I can talk about it. Fuck off. It's my life that I lived, not yours. I can tell you what happened. I was there. I told her that. And she told me what I said in the way that I said the second thing. She heard something different than what I actually said. She didn't go on date number 2. Because what she heard in her mind didn't support the idea of date number 2. I think she should have just been cool and not give a fuck and not rely on a man to totally put her up at her next residence anyways. Do your own ambitions and let stuff happen naturally, come into your life the natural, good old-fashioned way. And she'd have been happy because I'm a good-ass catch. And she'd have been happy because she's still doing her own thing. That's where a lot of that dating insecurity comes from. Holy crap, we're only 11 minutes in. I got to come up with more crap to talk about. That's where a lot of that dating insecurity comes from. It's not, like I said, it's not what you're saying, it's what they hear. And they're automatically decided they're going to go out and find someone to provide XYZ in their life. That's a mistake. One, you have no idea what the connection is going to be like. You have no idea what you two as a team or 3 or whoever will end up acquiring as a group, as a partner, as a partnership. You just don't know until you're there and do it. Anyways, it gets really messy when you automatically come up with this agenda in dating. I'm going to take a big bite of sushi now, so enjoy the sound of nothing. Oh, that was good. Shit. Oh, damn. Woo. Hot dog, son. So, yeah, that's random thoughts today. But you've already heard all that because you're listening to these episodes backwards. Because the most recent one was so kick-A. You're like, holy monkeys, who is this guy? So you started listening backwards. I'm probably going to play a clip here in a minute of what was that? Oh, apples and oranges conversation. I thought it was funny and cute. This conversation took place with myself and Miss Elizabeth, who I just told today to F off and not talk to me anymore because she's getting shade tree on me. But that's totally fine. I personally am not beat up about it. Her and I also had a hilarious conversation for about 3 hours. We were both looking through funny coffee cups on Amazon. And we had a full conversation about those and read a lot of those off. They were funny, but I didn't record that. So, I'll probably do that again, just with me and you. And that'll be funny, but you already knew that because you're listening to these at a future date, and you've already heard that one already. So that's fun too. So, on these podcasts, we're going to cover the big picture idea of life. We're going to put some things into perspective. We're going to get success motivated. We're going to have some laughs. We're going to learn a little bit about me. We're going to learn a lot about you. We're going to read your emails, dougalonation@gmail.com. And I don't go live because I don't want to do shows on a live schedule. I want to do them willy-nilly and then have an upload schedule. Which basically means I can record when I want. If there's a disaster, I can go back and take stuff out. If I don't feel that the show is worth listening to, I can delete the whole thing. And then I can do an episode now and have it set to upload at a future date so the shows get presented to you on a proper schedule that you can become familiar with and happy with. That way it stays on your mind. You know when to check back for new ones. You also know that today is show day, so you talk about this with your peers at work and at home which makes my shit more popular. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? Need the baby. Isn't that right? So, and if something happened that you're like, that I mentioned that you want to hear me play or talk about, and I forget to do it completely, which is almost guaranteed to happen, then all you got to do is email me at dougalonation@gmail.com and remind me, and I'll do it. And if you want to leave me a funny voicemail or something, at this current time, all I can tell you is to send me a sound file via the email. And if it's not a big fat fucking computer virus, I'll open it. And if it's funny and awesome and cutesy and insightful, then I'll play it. With your damn permission. Because that's what we do here. So, who am I? It doesn't matter. You'll learn about me as time goes on. And you'll also learn about yourself. Right? So now we're all set, right? But before I do what I talked about, I want to read a couple fortunes from fortune cookies that I got out of this Chinese meal yesterday. And that's going to send us down a rabbit hole of who the hell writes these things and all that stuff. And we're going to comment on what we're reading in these fortunes. Now, the first thing I want to know is, why did the fortune in Chinese food meals start in the first place? So we will do an Ask Jeeves on that particular thing. Alright, so I found a website called Quora, and there's a response to this question on it from a user named Christopher. And I can say exactly what he wrote because it's not plagiarism, because I cited the name and the site it was found on. So, I don't know if this exactly answers what I want to know. What I want to know is, who thought of it? Why did it become popular? I know it's an American thing, which this dude's about to explain. But what I want to know is, like, when did this start and why? And I also wanted to know, like, who writes them up, for what companies do them and stuff like that. Or are they just kind of like randomly thought up by like 3 people in place? Like these 3 people just text each other all the time. Hey, you should add this one. Blah, 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 blah. All right, so Christopher from Quora.com, Quora. If you do the search for why are fortune cookies served in Chinese restaurants but not others, he wrote that fortune cookies are an American invention. Right, could have told you that. And they're about as authentically Chinese as chop suey, which is another American invention. The notion of any other style restaurant serving fortune cookies at a meal's end is somewhere between laughable and condescending. After all, fortune cookies are the equivalent of an adult Happy Meal toy that derives a bit of after-dinner conversation. Ooh, good point. So maybe someone, somewhere, somehow thought, you know what? That damn McDonald's, you know what, damn it? That damn McDonald's puts a toy in their kids' meals, and people talk about the meal they had because of that toy they take home. What if we gave these people like a palm reading or a fortune instead? But going down this rabbit hole is not for me to speculate, so I'm going to continue reading. You got me? Competent waitstaff, when not in on formal dining situation, can provide 10 times the humor and fun during a meal than any little slip of paper. Taking this to an almost absurd level, there also is the fact that Chinese cooking frequently is rather salty, especially after idiots drench everything in soy sauce before tasting it. I agree, but I am one of those idiots. Not everything in soy sauce, I mean, come on. But I do like me some, I'm blowing my nose with the same paper towel I used to wipe my face this whole time I was eating. But I do like to use the different sauces almost with everything. It just makes things taste yummier. But yes, Chinese food is hella salty. Good Lord, you got to pretty much just order. If you go to a Chinese restaurant, it's so hard to not say that you want Mountain Dew. They say, what the drink? I normally say Mountain Dew. But a lot of times I know what's coming, so I just got to order just keep the water coming, baby. Keep the water coming, baby. Here's a fart. First fart on the air just for you. Now my desk is going to smell like straight colon meat for about 5 minutes. So I hope you know this. I hope you see the sacrifices I make for you. I want to know of other podcasters that are ripping straight ass into the microphone for your chuckling pleasure. Okay? So there's that then. Yeah, you got to drink a lot of water when you have Chinese food. And I'm not talking about Chinese food. I'm talking about American Chinese food. When you go down to Panda Garden Express Buffet down there in bumfuck Nebraska, okay, that's not Chinese food. That is American Chinese food, which is not even food in China. A lot of real Chinese folks would not eat the shit in a so-called Chinese restaurant. Okay, you got that? You copy that? So, our man goes on to say this: when this is combined with the commonly heard complaint of being hungry an hour later, it makes excellent sense to serve some small, inexpensive sweet to end things on a pleasant note. Placing fortune cookies on the bill's tray is pure marketing genius. What a way to ameliorate sticker stocks. Hang on, let me ask. What is ameliorate?
The verb ameliorate is usually defined as to make or become better, more bearable, or more satisfactory, improve.
Okay, I'm not sure if you can hear her because the volume's too low. Volume 10. Alright, so obviously I'm pausing out where I say her name. That way, if you have such said device in your house, it doesn't go off while you're trying to listen to this. So basically, what a way to make things better because of sticker shock. Okay, if you are shocked at the price of your Chinese bill, then get the fuck out of New York City. Go somewhere normal where like 3 people can eat 10 bellies full of Chinese food for $30 like anywhere else in the country. It ain't that expensive. All the same, he goes on to write on Quora.com, Quora. All the same, just as dessert is served last, so that the express sugars shut down digestion and produce a sense of fullness, the humble fortune cookie is an extremely low-cost solution to ensuring that diners walk away feeling a little more full than they otherwise might be. Looking back, I cannot recall a single eatery in all of Taiwan that either ever demeaned itself by serving a fortune cookie. It leads me to speculate how many American tourists in the Far East humiliate themselves by acting all insulted when they don't get fortune cookies at the end of their meal. I bet good money that this scenario has played out in some film somewhere or served bazillion electrons just pushing. Okay, so I kind of zoned out there at the end because the guy talks kind of lawyer speak, which is fine, whatever. That doesn't answer my question of like, who thought it up? But according to Christopher on Quora.com, his article is just saying, look, dude, it's marketing genius, okay? Because, like, people were shocked at the price of the bill, okay? So why not give them a little bit of treat, a little bit of niceness? And I got to pause and get a chocolate bang. Hang on. Just kidding. I went with Rainbow Unicorn Bang instead, and here's me opening it. That's the best sound ever, almost. Let's not get weird, but almost the best sound ever. Yummy! Cotton candy bangs are good. My favorite is a whole lot of chocolate, which actually is a pretty rare one to find around these pots. So I literally buy them in bulk and hand them out to my friends so they'll like me more and want to be my friend more, because they're hard to find. But anyways, what the hell was we even talking about? Chinese food still? The show's about half over already. Okay. By the way, Christopher on Quora.com has written over 6.7 thousand answers, and people have viewed his answers on here 6.6 million times. I should write a comment. Let's see here. How do we comment? It's all about the comment. I'm going to write a comment. Just kidding. I don't want to log in. Never mind. F it. I was just going to write a comment saying, hey, I'm so glad you wrote this answer, because I talked about what you said on one of my shows. I swag-jacked your shit and made a whole episode seg about it. But anyways, that's that. Who cares who wrote the Chinese fortunes? Anyways, my Chinese fortunes, as you've all been waiting, said this. The first one, by the way, when I go out, my friend always eats the cookies because I don't give a shit about the silly little tasteless, boring Chinese cookie. Fortune cookie with some nasty, dusty piece of paper in it and ink all over it. But this one says, a lifetime of happiness lies a lifetime of happiness lies ahead of you. That is not a fortune. That is an encouraging wish upon a star. And it says this, a lifetime of happiness lies ahead of you. Ladies and gentlemen, just so you know, a lifetime of happiness lies ahead of you. Welcome to the Sea Org organization. As a Scientologist, you must know that you're the most important creature on the earth and everyone else is below you, and if they should ever inquire into Scientology, you just let them know that I'm watching you, and if you don't shut them down by repeating the same phrase over and over, like, you're trespassing, go away, regardless of what they say to you, I will reprimand you the Miscavige way, like only I know how. But remember, if you do this, a lifetime of happiness lies ahead of you. Because as the great God L. Ron Hubbard said, the aliens are coming! So be sure to pull out and bust one on her breast instead. Alright, so that's that fortune. Useless. I don't know if anyone's lifetime is just chock full of happiness. The fact that there's challenges is what makes happiness happen. If everything was happy all the time, we would just kind of zone out, wouldn't we? Wouldn't we, guys? So the fact that you have to reach goals and get lucky breaks here and there, that's what makes you in that good mood, like, oh crap, that's awesome. And when you see something accomplished that you've worked hard on, okay, that builds up character and happiness as well. The next one says this. A modest man never talks to himself. What in the F word does that mean? According to onesmartfortunecookie.wordpress.com, have you ever heard anyone say, of course I talk to myself because sometimes I need expert advice? I actually read that on a coffee cup on the conversation 2 nights ago that I wish I would have recorded because it was funny. That was one of the coffee mugs you can buy on Amazon. A coffee mug that says, I talk to myself because sometimes I need expert advice. Okay, back to the article. The fact that there's a WordPress account that exists about interpreting and breaking down fortune cookies, that's amazing. It's almost as amazing as someone sitting and recording their thoughts for a podcast for an hour. I have seen it on t-shirts or magnets, but I've never heard anyone use it seriously. But recently, my guy and I were talking about someone that actually used this phrase or similarly, and they meant it. The sheer arrogance of people never cease to amaze me. And I wish it did. Now, please don't misunderstand. I believe in having confidence in yourself and having your abilities. Confident people. I don't know what this article is going to say about the actual fortune itself. So let's go back to the one I should have clicked on first, which was actually above this one, from a website called fornoob.com, Fornoob. That sounds naughty. But it says, how do I interpret this quote? A modest man never talks to himself, which is what my fortune was in cookie number 2. And the answer says, it says there's 5 answers. Let's go. I asked a few people and none understood it. I love quotes, but this one has me stuck. What does this mean? What is the lesson behind it? Here's some answers. We'll read let's read the third one. A modest man wouldn't want to talk to himself because he is modest and therefore knows that only others can teach him new things. A proud man would only talk to himself because he believes that he is the best, smartest, and would have no need for others' input. That is the third response to that question on fornoob.com. Fornoob.com, baby. I wonder if I can put a response of my own. I'll just write something incoherent as shit, and I'll plug my show. Nope, I don't see anywhere to post a comment. Oh man, is that the success behind YouTube? There it is. Your email address will not be published, but it is required. I'll just put the show address, DougLowNation@gmail.com. Okay, let's make a comment to this. After I throw this fortune in the trash. Okay. Alright, so the comment that I wrote is not as funny as I was hoping it would be because I really didn't have anything clever bubbling up in the synapses. So I just thought I'd shamelessly plug the show instead. And I wrote, a modest man listens to the DC Report on the Dougalo Nation channel each week and has no time to talk to themselves as a result of doing so. Signed by Scrot McFartsniff. Email me back at DougaloNation@gmail.com. Post comment now. Take a drink of bang. Okay, so back to the actual, what'd that say? Oh, your comment is waiting moderation. This is a preview. Your comment will be visible after it has been approved. It most likely will not get approved. Gotcha. So, I mean, if they want to keep the website zany and funny, they'll approve that shit. You know what I'm saying? That's fornoob.com, fornoob.com. And I hate the fact that I did a search for kick-ass kids toy cars that you ride in and pulled up these awesome, it's Moderno kids sports cars, and now all my ads on anything I view is for those because Big Brother knows that shit. That's annoying. But anyways, so back to what that fortune probably means. I think it should just simply read what it's meant to teach you rather than it be some frickin' because 50% of the people are going to look at it and say, that doesn't make any effing sense. They're going to throw it away. The other half's going to think about it, and roughly 1% is going to go look up what it actually might mean, and roughly 0.007% are going to be like, you know what this means? I can tell you right on the spot what this means. It means if you're modest, you'll listen instead of talk. So when you're out and about, you don't. See, that's why it doesn't make any sense, because if you're by yourself, you don't have no one to listen to. So you might as well talk to your effing self, whether you're modest or not. And it's not about modesty. Modesty is like, hey, I'm not flashy. Hey, I don't want attention. Okay? Your best bet is to listen and not talk. Because if you're the smartest person in the room, then you're at a disadvantage because you're not learning anything. Only those who have a autodidactic continued education and want to learn all the time are going to be able to adapt to any curve life throws at you and kick ass in the process. That's how it works, my friends. So apparently we were supposed to get all that through a fortune cookie. I don't think so, but luckily you get it right here on the DC Report, baby.
I now present to you the next useless segment.
Hey, I wanted to share with you the Desiree text message conversation. Desiree was a candidate for a potential relationship position here with the company. Her app for such position was found on a dating site. This pre-interview text message conversation lasted about 2 seconds, and I have 15 minutes to occupy, so let's dig into it. This is a classic, amazing example of how someone misreads your vibe and then makes a decision based off of the lack of information they have, and makes a decision based off of emotions instead of actual information that might help reach the goal. The goal is, when you make a dating profile, is to connect with someone new just in case there could be potential for a great relationship there. And that applies for any type of relationship you seek. Although the best thing to do is not seek one, but just let things happen naturally. Anyways, Miss Desiree and I swapped numbers because I hate actually checking the dating app. I'd rather just talk to you like people did in the olden days when they sent text messages. Like when the first European settlers came to this land, how the hell did they communicate? Via text. Duh. They didn't have to use a stupid dating app. And the truth is, a lot of times I don't even have a signal strong enough to load any kind of network data, but the text always comes in. It takes no signal to load it, like barely one. According to some questions and answers on Quora.com, Quora.com, which I happen to be becoming familiar with in podcasting. Pretty interesting how people ask a question, everybody chimes in, which is what you're supposed to be doing on the email, but whatever. One question someone submitted is this: why is it that you can be in an area with poor or no cell phone coverage yet be able to receive text even though you can't get calls? Or in my case, you can't load any apps, like dating apps, stock trading apps, whatever. Forget about it. But text comes through all day long. So I'm going to read a couple answers I thought were interesting, or portions of them. Ruben Carbonero said, you must be in an area with poor coverage. If you had no coverage at all, no communication would be possible. The better signal you get, the higher the bandwidth you can achieve in data transfer. Digital cell phone signals are basically just a coded stream of bits. If the signal is bad, some of the packets in the stream will get lost, meaning you'll get less bandwidth. A typical text message has a payload, whatever that means, of about 140 bits, 180 chars coded at 7 bits per char. Okay, now we're getting in the nerdville, but that's fine. If reception is poor, the phone will just retry again and again. Chances are the phone will manage to send and receive text messages even in case of poor coverage, because a text message is actually a quite light item in BW terms, or quiet light item in BW terms. Okay, so what we already knew, basically, is it takes very little to make a text message happen over a signal strength. And but to load an app, which is just like loading a web page, which your browser is just another app, takes more connection. Because I guess your phone doesn't have enough coming in as quickly, so it either will load super slow or it just doesn't load at all, right? Another answer I liked from Alistar Yuri said, because it's designed that way. Text message is carried over what we call the control channel. Mobile networks also use the control channel to set up calls, handle mobility, and authenticate the phone. This channel has to work before you can place a phone call or send data, and so the network is designed to ensure that it is the more robust channels for user plane traffic. Not sure where he's going with that, but if it's set up to basically lock in a primary channel and then like your apps load on some secondary channel, that's English I can understand. But anyways, that's a total side nugget of what I started to record for. Back to the Desiree text call. So we swapped numbers because I don't want to check the app all day, and I can't check the app all day because I move about town, baby. I get around. Okay, like a Rolling Stones record, baby. And sometimes I'm not in what they call a juicy nugget of network. But text messages normally come through. Anyways, we had a quick text message exchange that ended with her saying, "Lose my number, peace sign emoji." And it's based off of, the subject matter here is Christmas versus Xmas. So, by the way, Happy New Year. Christmas is past us and everything. I hope everyone had a fantabulous Christmas. But this conversation happened like on Christmas Eve. And it's pretty stupid. And there's a lot of misunderstanding that took place here in about 5 minutes. But it's amazing that so many people, like Miss Desiree, will burn the bridge based off the very first solitary possibility that a misunderstanding could possibly be taking place. So I said, I'll do the voices here. I'm going to do Desiree in a voice like this. And I'm going to do my voice in a voice like this. Are you ready? And then I'll use this voice to chime in on myself. Does that make sense? And I'm going to try to be quick because we're running out of mojo, baby. Running out of time.
Hi, Desiree. How are you? It's DC from the dating app.
What's up, Doug? I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, babe. You?
Good, thanks.
What you doing?
About to hop in the shower. You?
Pics or it didn't happen. I'm in bed. Yawning face emoji.
Then nothing happened. An hour later, I hit her up again because I'm a persistent sumbitch. And I said,
"So yeah, how was your night?"
That was actually the next morning. So today I said,
"So yeah, how was your night?"
referring to last night. Good, yours?
Good. What are you up to?
Just got out of my workout class, about to shower and get in my Xmas gifts. About to shower and get in on Xmas gifts. You?
What's Xmas?
Christmas?
Now, I do know what Christmas is, and I do know what Jesus Christ, but not really sure what Xmas is. Ha 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 ha. LOL.
It's a shortened version or abbreviation of the word Christmas. That's literally it.
X does not abbreviate Christ. Sorry.
Okay, all I was trying to do was participate in the subject matter of the conversation. I don't care what you believe. I don't care how you believe. I'm solid with what I believe, but as someone who is a Christian, it would be dumb of me to not mention the fact that Christmas is about the Jesus story, and it's a celebration among Christians, so it's a hint, a smidge, coded, a smidgery in offense when you X out the word Christ to say Christmas, but you can't possibly muster up the stomach fluid to say Christ. That should offend Christians. I wasn't even there really yet. I just wanted to go there with the conversation, because what are we going to do, talk about otherwise? I don't have a list of questions to ask her in my pocket. But anyways, let's move forward. So I just wanted to say it. I just wanted to get a response and see what kind of vibes she put out when we don't perfectly automatically understand each other in 2 seconds, because that's a part of real life. So you kind of have to see how someone might handle such bizarre, crazy situations as a possible misunderstanding, right? Not here for any sort of religious pep talk. I didn't create the fucking abbreviation. I just use it. If you have a problem with something if you have a problem with something that menial, get the fuck out of here. This discussion is not about religion. This discussion is about the use of words and how abbreviations work. X does not abbreviate a word that starts with C. Yes, her response pissed me off a little bit, and I came back with a little bit of smudgery of my own. I don't have a problem, but since you are using profanity, it would seem as if you have some kind of emotional problem taking place at the moment. Are you having a really bad day that is causing you to be so very angry or something right now? What's going on there that has you so upset? Crickets, crickets. Then she says, lose my number, peace sign. Okay, so now that that's recorded, let me go ahead and delete this message, this conversation. Delete all. Yes, delete all. Yes, yes, yes. She is now ancient history. Mofo, all you got to do is say your thoughts, but don't instantly assume the guy you're talking to or the gal you're talking to is giving you a religious pep talk because you don't know how to abbreviate a word. It makes no sense. And that's what people do. They react with the emotions instead of just take a deep breath and go back and read the words actually being said, and then just respond to what's actually being said. Because when you don't understand someone and then you feel all these emotions, there's a halfway decent chance that your emotions do not serve the reality of the situation. You cheer me? You cheer me? All your hate tweets, questions, comments on that subject or anything you've heard here today, direct them at DougaloNation@gmail.com, and we'll talk about them right. Nyah. That's all the show you're getting today. You've been bad, and you don't deserve any more. So just enjoy this outro music and send all your love and all your hate to my email, DougaloNation@gmail.com.